Hello, everyone, and welcome to Franz's Real Estate Facts, episode 5. It is now February, and I have been doing this since the beginning of the year, which is awesome. And I've gotten a lot of really great information. One of the things that I said last week is we're going to talk about insurance and ways of deferring financial responsibility in case you have some sort of financial issue. And one type of insurance that people really do not think about or talk about all that much is title insurance. So I am here today with Gwen Field, who is amazing and awesome, and she is the title geek. She is the title geek. She loves everything related to title. She loves talking about title. She lives and breathes title. She does title searches. She reads title reports and really just does everything related to title. So what better person could we have with us today to talk to us about title issues and how to protect yourself as a seller when you're trying to sell your home? So Gwen, thank you so much for being here. And also thank you so much to Karen for introducing us. I really think that you've got a lot of great information to talk to everybody about today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am very passionate about title. One of the things that I do and with you and I working together is that I take a look at the property, the legalities of the property, and look for any red flags because there's a lot of things that can pop up with title. But before I get into that, what is title insurance?
Yeah, that is a really good question. I mean, as an attorney and as somebody who works with title insurance pretty frequently, I do understand what it is. But from your perspective, what exactly is title insurance? And I know that there's like Alta policies and regular policies. So
So,
yeah.
what title insurance is a policy that insures the past, not the future.
Right.
So, when you're selling a property and the buyer is purchasing it, traditionally the seller pays for the owner's policy, and that gets issued to the new homeowner at close. And what that policy is covering are any liens, any clouds on title, any potential problems that come up. And so, as title, what we do is we run the searches, we look for the personal liens, any kind of items recorded against the property. One of the things that's unique about me is I personally take a look at the chain of title and analyze it so we can let your sellers know in advance if there are any issues or things that need to be ironed out or taken care of. For example, if you have ownership in a trust and one of the trustees has passed away, or perhaps both of the trustees have passed away, industry wide, a title company will require a full copy of the trust. So we want to let our sellers know now, not 10 days or 15 days into escrow. We've had it happen where escrow calls the seller and says, hey, we need that trust to confirm who the successor trustees are or the powers of the trustees. And the seller goes, well, why didn't you tell me? I packed everything and it's on its way to North Carolina. We've had closings delayed because of that. The other item with trusts is when a trustee passes away, their death has to be established legally on the property, which means we need an original or what's called a certified copy of the death certificate. Now, if the person recently passed away, or maybe they passed away out of state or even out of the country, it can be very time consuming and also a little heart wrenching, for the heirs to have to obtain and go through the steps. So we want to let them know as soon as possible what we need to be able to clear those items, one out of information and getting it in a timely manner, but also to be sensitive to people because there's a lot of emotions that are connected with the sale of a home. Another potential issue are uninsured deeds. Uninsured deeds are any deed that has recorded without title insurance being issued. This is quite common. Husband and wife get a divorce. The wife is awarded the divorce and the property, or in the property and the divorce, excuse me. And so the husband quit claims off of the property. Well, as title needs to confirm any conveyance or deed that is recorded against the property. Now, that can be in the form of an affidavit of uninsured deed. I don't know about you, but I have a starter husband. Okay, I started with him and I didn't end up with him. But when I got divorced, the very last thing I wanted to do was get a hold of my ex and say, "Hey, can you notarize this document for me and say that there's no money owed?" Well, me as a title professional, I know that if there's a divorce situation, it usually says somewhere on the deed. I know that I'm going to need a copy of the marriage settlement agreement showing that the wife received the property, which avoids any need of getting a signature or any documentation from the spouse. So I'm conveying that to you and to the seller so they know in advance, hey, I got to dig through those records. I've got to find that paperwork. So I don't have to get a hold of the starter husband.
Exactly. And also, depending on how contentious the divorce is, they might not even be willing to sign it because they just want to stick it to the ex-spouse, because there are people who are just that vengeful in divorces. So that is an absolute benefit to just understanding what goes on in title and what are some ways of fixing problems. So when stuff happens, there are, as many people, as some people say, there's like many ways to skin a cat, but there's just many ways to, get from A to B. And so if you as a title professional know we have to get to A to B, but we can go like to C first and then to B instead of like going straight from A to B, that's really helpful and it can save people a lot of headache.
That's right.
Which is absolutely my goal as a real estate professional. So one of the things that I do as a real estate professional is I bring together a team of people who can all do what they have to do so that the deal is easy and smooth. So we've got lenders, we have title people, we have um, just basic homeowners insurance people, a lot of people who come together. So I'm wondering, I mean, you mentioned a title or a trust being on the truck to North Carolina. What are some good title stories that you have, just
Oh,
issues that have happened?
gosh, there's a ton of them. I mean, the trust being in the moving truck on the way to North Carolina, true story. Um, one issue that we've run into a lot is with manufactured homes. You
Hmm.
need a 433, which is 433A converts the manufactured home to real property. It's a permanent foundation. But oftentimes those documents don't get posted to the chain properly because either the county employee or somebody didn't put the right information on there. And the lenders need that document. They need to be able to get their certifications and such to be able to get the conventional financing. And finding that needle in the haystack and having resources and different ways of finding things where I get really creative, and it's really made it a lot easier for our sellers because they know they have the 433A, but they can't find it in their paperwork or whatever the issue is, because that brings a lot more value to the home uh, when you have that document and being able to attract buyers that can qualify for conventional funding, conventional lending, excuse me.
Right, exactly. And if you have a 433A or it can be found, then it makes it eligible not just for conventional financing, but for um, either FHA financing, VA financing, or conventional, any real property financing. And I don't know how many of our viewers really know this, but financing for real property right now, interest rates are under 3%. I mean, that's a pretty safe bet. For a mobile or manufactured home, interest rates are 8, 9, 10%. So, your buying power as a buyer with a 433, or the buying power, the desirability of the home goes up significantly when you have that 433A. And I personally have had situations where 433As just disappear. So the fact that you are able to go out and find them is really awesome and amazing and really helpful.
Well, and here's another super interesting thing is a few years ago, the county went through their requirements for 433As, and I'm going to use Lawrence Welk, the mobile home park in Northern Escondido as an example. That development was created with a condo plan, meaning that you had fractional interest. So the county reviewed their 433A and 433C requirements and decided that the manufactured homes no longer would be allowed to have a 433A. And this went on for quite a few years, and they are again allowing the 433As. However, when I'm doing a lot of listing appointment research and such, we're finding a lot of 433Cs, and the agents are working with the seller and with companies like on the level, and they're getting that 433A to help with the desirability and with the financing and such. So, knowing that information in advance, knowing that there's going to be some work to be done and some out-of-pocket expenses is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's incredibly important for sellers to know and understand that, title issues, sometimes they cost a little bit of money to fix. I wonder, you mentioned doing listing appointment sort of presentations and stuff like that. At what point should a seller do a title search? Like, at what point should the seller know what's going on with title?
So as soon as the listing is signed, I recommend getting the title order opened. It takes time to go through the legalities of the property, to put the report together, check the vesting, look for any kinds of issues, look at the easements. Does SDG&E have the right to go across the property? What about the water district, cable, things like that. So my suggestion, especially in this market, I mean, things are moving so fast, and we want to get that title search started just the moment the listing agreement is signed. And a few days later, we've got the report. We can take a look at it, review it, make sure we don't have any red flags that I didn't see, but chances are I'm gonna see them.
Right.
But nobody's perfect. But we want to make sure that we have this taken care of early. Another benefit is that we've got that report completed, you've opened escrow, we can get that report to escrow in a matter of hours instead of days. And, you know, CC me when you open escrow, say, hey, Gwen, let's celebrate it. Awesome. I reply all, get escrow everything they need, get them the copies of the deeds, the tax roll, all of that. So it goes really smoothly. Escrow is able to do their job quickly and seamlessly, and it just makes for a much easier transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And, at HomeSmart, our motto, which is my motto as well, is we make real estate easy. And so I surround myself with people who will make a transaction easy. And, real estate transactions are stressful for everyone involved. And it's hard not for them not to be stressful because, as you said, there's a lot of emotions tied to buying a home or selling a home. So having experts and professionals around me, and also having, as a client, having experts and professionals around you who can make it as easy and seamless as possible is just absolutely critical to maintaining your mental health and sanity throughout the transaction. Um, So you didn't, I mean, I heard you mention, you talked about easements and you talked about sort of all of these other things that you have to look at. And so can you talk a little bit about different types of title policies? So you have an Alta policy, there's other types of policies. So what type of title policies exist and what do you recommend that sellers get in your professional expertise?
Well, we have the Alta policy and also the CLTA policy, and there's different qualifying factors with the property that decide whether what type of policy is issued. It also depends on if the home is owner occupied. If you've got the Alta homeowners for owner occupied, but when you get into areas like the backcountry, where the legal descriptions are, fractional and quite complicated, or even vacant land, you're looking at being issued a CLTA policy, has a different type of coverage. And then, when you've got more of the tract homes or things that are parcel maps or, different types of legal descriptions, then the Alta policy is what applies to that particular property.
And do they protect different things, or do you have a recommendation for, should you try to get an Alta policy if you can get an Alta policy, or is it really the same? Or
Mhm. So the title company will issue the best policy that the property does qualify for.
okay,
And so there are different types of coverage based on what the property is. But we could be here all day if I
yeah,
went over all of that. And I might put everybody to sleep as well, because I'm sitting here geeking out and you guys are going, oh, Gwen, just stop.
right, yeah. So I mean, on the attorney side, I definitely deal with some title issues. So I also really love title. So that means that I'm glad that you're kind of keeping us both honest, just to make sure that we're not geeking out on stuff that we love and everybody else is like, well, great, just do your job. Um, so that's awesome. So you work for Corinthian Title. Can you maybe say a little bit about what you like about their company specifically, or is there anything that you really appreciate about Corinthian Title over other title companies?
Well, Corinthian Title has three different underwriters with different comfort levels. So we're not the big dog of the umbrella of the monopoly companies. We are a big company, but it's more of a personal service and a family environment, which we love. In May of 2019, my husband and I looked at each other and said, hey, maybe we should be partnering together. And I went to management and asked them, what do you think about me bringing my husband on as my business partner to support with title? They didn't bat an eye. They
Hmm.
said, he's hired. Bring him on. It's May, it'll be 2 years. And our business is doing well. And he's loving it. He's learning a lot of stuff. And we're able to build and support our business the same way we build and support our family. And so to us, that's a really important, but also getting creative. And, you know, I work with a title unit that is very, very, very much experienced, and being able to roll up our sleeves and work together, where it's not an ego situation where one person knows more than the other, and there turns into some back and forth. It's not that type of environment. So it's great to be able to be part of a team that I can speak confidently about.
That's that's really awesome. I love hearing people being willing to collaborate, people being able to work together, and really that's what this real estate business is about. It is about collaboration, it's about working together. It's not sort of this adversarial, well, I'm going to, get the best that I can possibly get, and who cares what happens to the other person. It's really it's collaborative. And these are people that you live with, these are your neighbors, people, when they move out of one home, oftentimes move into a home that's 2 to 3 miles away. So it's really important that there are professionals who know how to be professionals, who know how to be good advocates for their clients, and also know how to create a really strong family collaborative environment, just to make sure that everybody walks away feeling happy. Because both buying a home and selling a home is a happy experience. I remember, I think about all the buyers that I work with who buy homes and just the happiness and joy they have when they move in. And sellers really just being so happy to be able to pass on all the memories and the love that they had in their home to somebody else, so that they're able to, have a new home that's able to do whatever they need at the time. So do you have any last parting words before we end our interview? I want to say thank you so much for being with us.
No, this was great. This was a lot of fun. And, one last thing I'll leave everybody with is, sometimes sellers have questions and sometimes buyers have questions. And it's the real estate professional. Your job is to sell their home and to do your job. And if we run into a situation where there's questions and you're sitting there going, I know the answer to this, but it might lead to some other questions that, maybe it would be best for Gwen to speak directly with the client. And I very much have an open phone, open door policy of, hey, if the client wants to reach out to me directly and ask the questions, pick up that phone, send that email, send me a text, reach out in any way that you feel is best, and we'll take care of your questions and have everybody comfortable and have a smooth, nice closing. So,
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I definitely surround myself with referral partners and business partners who are as responsive as I am, pick up their phones, respond to emails, and are there to serve their clients. I really appreciate that you do the same. And I really just want to say thank you so much for being with us and talking to us a little bit about title and sharing a little bit of your title geekiness. Um, and I just see an amazing amount of potential for the value that you can bring to both buyers and sellers when they're trying to sell their home, so that the transaction is easy for them. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and watching. And next week, we will continue on this theme of insurance, and we'll talk about property and casualty insurance and some different tools and strategies that sellers can use to ensure that their homes are insurable. So I will see you all next week. And thank you so much for joining us, Gwen. I really appreciated it.
have a great day, everyone.
All right, bye.